Okay, now you have a cup of coffee.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Today we are here talk about something happening in our channel. And a couple of days ago, we made a talk show talking about the war between US and China. In this, we're talking about someone, a Chinese source, said that the Chinese high officials and their families have so much money here in the US, $4.8 trillion, that can be used for the whole nation, a whole Chinese people, 1.3 billion people, for free medication for 600 years. Okay, and I repeated to say that I don't know if this source is correct, if the number is correct. And then there is a viewer and wrote to me, says, Daniel, it can't be right. And then he gives his calculation, said this is a ridiculous number. Then I said, because you convince me is no use. Why don't you convince everyone? We'll give us your argument. And this man says, but I don't know how to make a video. I have never made a video before. Then I said, why don't you just try your cell phone? Then he did. Okay. He made a video, used a cell phone, and sent to me in my WeChat. And then I just filmed from the WeChat what he say.
Hello Daniel, this is Ken. It is the first time for me to make a short video movie, so I don't have any experience in making it. Well, coming back to your last time topic, so I would like to give you my argument. I think those anti-Chinese government people is extremely smart, intelligent, and lovely. It looks like that they live in a world of utopia, full of fantasy, delusion, and fiction rather than reality. Further, their mass might be taught by aliens rather than human beings. So they claim that Chinese corrupted officials' dirty money could be used to cover free medical care services for every Chinese for 600 years. Let's make a simple calculation. Currently, China's population is 1.4 billion. Suppose each Chinese people only needs $1,000 as free medical care service per year. So that is really a very, very low level. Then the number comes up to 1,400 billion. Then this figure, 1,400 billion, multiplies 600 is equal to $840 trillion. So the conclusion is it needs at least $840 trillion in order to cover every single Chinese people's free medical care service for 600 years. So 800 trillion are equal to 40 times larger than the total national debt of the United States, I think, which is more or less about $20 trillion. I am wondering how much the total national wealth of China has been created since 1978. But that year, China started to carry out open and reform policy. If even this figure is smaller than $840 trillion, how could their argument be possible, tenable, scientific, and convincing? I would like to ask a question. Where did this money come from?
I just give the original source, what the lady gave the information. Of course, the lady was said in Chinese, and I don't bother translate, okay? Anyone who understands Chinese and can translate it. But I just say, I said exactly what they said. It would snow and released the information in 2013 that there were $4.8 trillion in US, which belongs to the high officials and their families. And this lady calculated that amount of money can be used for Chinese free medication for 600 years. So I just give this a creep, so you can see I didn't make this. Okay. Then
2013年8月23日，这是个重大的日子。反美特工施诺登，他在俄罗斯爆了个大料。这个料的内容是，他说中共官员在国外存款达4.8万亿美元，合人民币30万亿。那么按照现金持有量占总资产1/3来计算，中共官员海外资产应该多达100万亿。大家知道，我们全民医疗、免费医疗每年需要政府补贴1600亿，那么贪官们的海外资产可以达100万亿。那么大家算一笔账，100万亿除以1600亿等于625。于是我们就可以这样说，贪官们的海外资产够我们13亿中国人民免费医疗600年。
Now you have watched all the videos. Now I just give you some ideas what I know the revolutionary Chinese and anti-revolutionary Chinese. Why I bring this topic up is that I want you to understand that my opinion is that overthrow Chinese government is not. I'm not in a very good position today.
I think maybe we put this off. Make it tomorrow.
No. I want to finish. My opinion is that to overthrow Chinese government is not a very good idea. Why? Because we Chinese could not find anyone at this moment politically strong enough as a Chinese government. The leaders, we don't have a political power which is as strong, which is replaceable. You cannot get anyone replace Xi Jinping. And all the anti-revolutionaries, they live in US or outside of China. First of all, they are very, very important because they can be a mirror, they can be a watch, a power to the Chinese Communist Party, to the government, and they are the opposite power, the enemy.
Opposing.
They are the opposing power. So it's very important in this sense. But don't think they are any better than the Chinese government people, because they are all from the Cultural Revolution. They are the same people. If you think the Chinese government telling lies, they do the same. Okay? They are exactly the same people, only because they are losers. Okay? They're enemies of the Chinese government, and they behave, they hate Chinese. They hate China so much, they hate the government so much, they do anything to harm the government. Okay? One side, they are important. Two, they cannot be trusted. Okay? Because all what they say, they exaggerate.
Exaggerate?
Or what they say, the
exaggerate.
Or what they say, the
Please, I think you need like coffee or something.
Exaggerate. They exaggerate the facts and make up the facts. They do anything trying to bring the Chinese government down. But the question is, if the Chinese government down, it will create chaos in China. Who is going to suffer? The ordinary Chinese people. And also, if you bring the China down, who's going to pay the bills? Who's going to do business with the US or the rest of the world? China is the second superpower in the world now. If China down, the whole world will be affected. So the stability of China is vitally important. I think it is also why Trump only wants money. He does not really want, that's why President Trump does not really want to bring the Chinese government down. Instead, he just wants a fair trade. Okay? Understand that.
He just wants China to follow the rules.
Yes.
It's just like a end user agreement. If you agree to use a service or software or something like that, you click that little box and then you violate the terms and conditions, you're out of, you can't use that software anymore or that service anymore. And I think he just wants them to play by the rules.
Exactly. So the anti-revolutionary Chinese people, some of them my friends too, and I'm a friend of both sides. Okay, I don't take sides. Okay, first of all, I am a son of a Communist Party. Okay, my father is my father, my grandfather. They are revolutionaries. Okay, and also I have lived overseas for like 40 years now. I have many good friends with anti-revolutionaries too. So I just tell my friends in the anti-revolutionary sides, and don't even think that Trump will help you to overthrow the Chinese government. It's not a good idea. Okay. And it's good for you to do your job. Keep doing your job and keep criticize China. It's okay, but do it rationally, do it reasonably, do it more intelligently, in a high level. Okay, and you have to show the Chinese government and the Chinese people you are living in the free country now, and you are better. You're more rational, right? You should behave better, and you should not do the same like the bad Chinese government people do. Of course, there are many good Chinese government people, and they just ignore the facts and make all these lies, and
So what is it? I'm just asking here, okay? Because I can watch these videos in Chinese, but I don't understand them. Are the anti-revolutionaries just doing the same thing but with the opposite kind of propaganda?
Almost the same.
Same tactic?
Yeah. They use the same language with all the emotions, with bad words, and they don't act like they have been living in the West. Yeah. I bet they physically live in US. Yeah. But I don't think they really live in the US culture. They're not living in the US culture. They stick to themselves. Okay, they speak Chinese. They eat Chinese food. They watch Chinese movie, Chinese videos. So
the reason they came here was not to explore, enjoy, grow, just learn about other stuff. They just came here because they could continue their stuff without going to jail.
Exactly. Many of them even don't speak much English.
That's sad. It's sad to live in a place that you don't speak the language. I mean, I did that in Malaysia and Pakistan, but I had built-in translators very close to me. Plus, most people spoke English in both of those places that I needed to interact with. So I was very lucky. But you go to the store here, and unless you're in Chinatown, you're not. And even in Chinatown, you're not going to. The other day in the grocery store, you asked a girl, "Do you work here?" And she said, "Yeah." And then you started speaking Chinese to her, and she said, "Whoa, I don't speak Chinese." Remember? So yeah, when you come here, it's really not a guarantee that you're going to be able to find someone who can speak Chinese.
Okay, many people complain that say my English is very bad. My English sucks. Okay, I have to admit that my English is not good because I have not really lived in English-speaking country. Okay, I lived in Australia a few years, and by that time I was very much Chinese. Also, my community is also very much Chinese. So same, I behave like most of the Chinese people. They stick to their own people. They live in their own community. We take a driver license. We have Chinese instructors. We go to Chinese restaurant. We go to Chinese supermarket. Everything Chinese. Okay, even the talk to police, telephone, they have a Chinese service, so they don't bother to learn the language. And I live in Norway. Jeg snakker norsk. Yeah, jeg snakker norsk. Jeg er fra Oslo. Jeg bor i Bergen. So I started speaking Norwegian, right? Then I lived in Sweden. Yeah, jeg prater på svensk also. So I lived in Sweden. I started speaking Swedish. All right. Then I moved to Japan for 20 years. And then もちろん日本語ベラベラだよ。日本語上手だよ。20年かかりましたのね。So after living in Japan for 20 years, of course I speak Japanese. So this is really the first time I actually live. I cannot say live. I stayed in the US, and of course, first lady, US lady. First US lady. How can I put it? You are my first US lady.
Am I?
No, I'm not the president. But
No.
you cannot be a first lady. I mean, you are. How can I put it? She is my first US lady. Is that correct?
It sounds really dirty. Anyway, and in addition, okay, even though we speak English in this household, he is always going back and forth speaking Chinese and English. So it's not like he comes here and he just speaks English as well, because of course he's communicating with other people, you know. So I think that also kind of keeps you from, you know, getting all of the pronunciations proper. But I don't. People need to make a concession and just understand. If they've got a problem with it, then I'm sorry. What are you going to do?
My point is that even I have not been living in the English-speaking country, I try my best. At least I learn English and I speak it, and I travel all over the world. I use English as my common language. I use English to make my YouTube videos, and I have like a few million views every month. Yeah. And I make my effort. Not like some people live in the States for 20, 30, 40 years without speaking English. Okay, and then they say, "Oh, we live in the free country," and I talked with a couple of people. I say, "Oh, this and that," and when I start to speak English to them, they just the pronunciation is so bad and the vocabulary is so limited, and mixed with the Chinese language. Okay, of course there are some people are very, very, very good. I have a friend. His name is Steven. I live in California. Oh, his English is beautiful. Absolutely. When you listen to what he's saying, I know he is in the culture. He is the really good Chinese. And I have another friend, actually was my classmate, and she is teaching at university, graduate students. He's teaching English to Americans, graduate student, English literature. We have great people here too. So I say it again, I respect both the anti-revolutionaries. You are very, very important to keep our government working harder and better, right? But don't even think that Trump will help you to overthrow the Chinese government. And also the Chinese government, and you have to be aware that you are watched by the whole world, and you have to work harder for the Chinese people as well as for the whole world. As you say, China has to take more responsibility of the world affairs, and China have to contribute more to the world, and we stand up now and do what you say. Okay, this is the video, and we welcome anyone participate with our videos, and we are just a platform. We have no rules except you
be nice, no profanity, and be rational. Don't get emotional. If you want to be listened to, otherwise when you start to get emotional, you start not making sense, and then nobody wants to listen. So if you really want to be taken seriously and you want to be heard, be objective and present your information objectively, please.
Yeah, and after you've seen this program, you know that you can send me a cell phone image. Okay, anyone who speaks English, who speaks Chinese, doesn't matter. As far as you have something to say to me, to the world, send me your video. Or you can make a video camera, put in the crowd, and we fix how to do this. Okay, anyone who would love to
Participate.
Would like to take part.
Yes, if you would like to take part. Put it that way.
Okay. Anyone,
Some
if
synonyms.
if you would like to take part of our program and have your say, please, and this is your opportunity. We will do everything possible to support you and to entertain our viewers.
Okay. No, it's all good. Saturday morning.
Saturday morning.
We should be
and
back and sleeping right now.
okay.
Yeah.
Saturday early morning, and now we have breakfast and a beautiful day today. Okay. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next video.